Have you ever looked at your reflection and felt like something was looking back? Not just your image in the glass, but something else. Something watching. Something waiting. Sarah was 8 years old when she first noticed her reflection doing things she didn't do. Blinking when she wasn't. Smiling when her face was blank. Her mom said she was being dramatic, that mirrors couldn't hurt anyone. But Sarah knew better. She knew because one morning, she woke up and her reflection was already awake, staring at her from across the room. Before we get into what happened to Sarah, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss more shocking stories tomorrow. Leave a comment below telling me where you're watching from and what time it is there. Trust me, after hearing this, you might want to cover every mirror in your house. Sarah was 8 years old when her family moved into the old house on Maple Street. It was just her mom, and her older brother Tyler, who was 15. Their dad had left 2 years earlier, and their mom worked double shifts at the hospital trying to make ends meet. The house was old but affordable, and Sarah's mom was proud she could buy it on her own. Sarah got the bigger bedroom, the one with its own bathroom attached. Her mom called it the good room. Tyler got the smaller one down the hall, but he didn't seem to mind much. He spent most of his time gaming anyway. The bathroom in Sarah's room had this huge mirror, floor to ceiling, trapped in an ornate gold frame that looked like it belonged in a palace. Her mom loved it. She said it was the best feature of the whole house, that mirrors like that no longer existed. Sarah thought it was pretty too at first. It made her room look twice as big, like she had a whole other room on the other side of the glass. The first week in the new house was normal. Sarah decorated her room with stuffed animals and drawings from school. Tyler helped her put glow in the dark stars on the ceiling. They formed constellations, or at least what Tyler said were constellations. Sarah wasn't sure if he was making them up. Their mom worked most nights, so Tyler was in charge. He made dinner, helped with homework, made sure Sarah brushed her teeth, and got to bed by 8:30. Sarah liked the routine. It made her feel safe even though everything else was new and different. She developed this silly habit of waving goodnight to her reflection before bed. Just a little wave, like saying goodbye to a friend. It made her feel less alone in the big room. On the third night, something strange happened. Sarah waved goodnight, like always, but she could have sworn her reflection waved back a second too late. Like there was a tiny delay between her hand moving and the reflection copying it. She stared at the mirror for a long moment, her hand still raised. The reflection stared back, hand raised too. Perfectly matched now. Sarah told herself she was being silly. Mirrors didn't have delays. That wasn't how they worked. But that night, it took her longer to fall asleep. She kept glancing at the bathroom door, making sure it stayed closed. The second week, Sarah started noticing other small things, details that didn't quite match up. One morning, while getting ready for school, she scratched her nose. She saw her reflection do it too, but it used the wrong hand. Sarah scratched with her right hand, and the reflection used its right hand too. That wasn't how mirrors worked. Mirrors were supposed to flip everything. If you touched your left ear, the reflection touched its right. Everyone knew that. Sarah tested it again. She touched her left ear with her right hand. The reflection mirrored it correctly this time. Left became right. Right became left, just like it should. Sarah decided she must have imagined the first thing. Maybe she wasn't paying attention. Maybe she was still half asleep. Another day, she smiled at herself in the mirror while brushing her hair. Just a regular smile. But she could have sworn the reflection smiled wider, showing more teeth than Sarah was showing. It was just for a second, barely noticeable, but it made Sarah's stomach feel weird. When she focused on the mirror and really looked, everything seemed normal again. Her reflection matched her perfectly, smile for smile. Sarah started thinking maybe Tyler was right when he said, "Old houses played tricks on your eyes." The third week, Sarah decided to play a game with her reflection. She stood in front of the mirror and had a staring contest with herself. Who could go longest without blinking? She counted in her head, determined not to lose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Her eyes started to water a little. 5, 6, 7. And then her reflection blinked. But Sarah hadn't blinked. She was sure of it. She was still staring, eyes wide open and starting to burn. Her reflection had blinked first. Sarah froze, her heart beating faster. She stared harder at the mirror. The reflection stared back, completely still, matching her shocked expression perfectly. Sarah ran out of the bathroom and down the hall to Tyler's room. Tyler was in the middle of a game, headset on, shouting at his screen. Sarah tugged on his sleeve. He pulled one side of the headset off his ear and glanced at her. Annoyed, Sarah told him about the mirror, about the blinking. Tyler barely looked away from his game. He said mirrors were weird and told her not to stare at them too long or she would freak herself out. Sarah asked if she could sleep in his room that night. Tyler said no. He had friends coming over later for an overnight gaming session. He told her to go back to her room and stop being a baby. Sarah walked back slowly, keeping her eyes on the floor. When she got to her room, she looked at the bathroom door. It was slightly open, just a crack. Sarah always closed it before bed. She always made sure it was shut tight. Her hands started shaking as she walked over and pushed it. Closed. She checked it 3 times to make sure the latch caught. Then she climbed into bed and pulled the covers up to her chin. That night, Sarah woke up at 11:47. She knew the time because she checked her glow-in-the-dark clock on the nightstand. She needed to pee really badly. She got out of bed, groggy and half asleep. As she walked toward the bathroom, she noticed the door was open again, just slightly, the same small crack as before. But she knew she had closed it. She knew she had checked it 3 times. Sarah pushed the door open wider and turned on the light. The brightness made her squint. She sat down on the toilet, too tired to think about anything except getting back to bed. She was facing the mirror. That's when she realized what she was looking at. Her reflection was staring at her. That was normal. Mirrors reflected. But her reflection's head was tilted to the side, just a little bit. And Sarah's head wasn't tilted. Sarah sat up straighter, her heart suddenly pounding. Her reflection straightened up too, matching her position exactly now. Sarah finished as quickly as she could and washed her hands without looking up at the mirror. She left the bathroom and closed the door behind her. She checked it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. The latch was secure. The door was definitely closed. Sarah climbed back into bed but couldn't fall asleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw that tilted head, that reflection that didn't quite match. She lay awake for 2 more hours, watching the glow stars on her ceiling slowly fade as her eyes adjusted to the darkness. The next morning was Saturday. Sarah's mom was home, making pancakes in the kitchen. The smell of butter and syrup filled the house. Sarah came downstairs and sat at the table. She needed to tell someone what was happening. She couldn't keep it inside anymore. Sarah told her mom about the mirror, about how her reflection was doing things wrong. Her mom stopped flipping pancakes and walked over. She pressed her hand against Sarah's forehead, checking for a fever. She asked if Sarah was feeling okay. Sarah insisted she wasn't sick. Something was wrong with the mirror. She was sure of it. Tyler came into the kitchen and overheard the conversation. He laughed and asked if Sarah was really being a baby about a mirror. Sarah felt her face get hot. She wasn't making it up. She wasn't being a baby. This was real. Their mom sighed. She looked tired. She always looked tired lately. She explained that old mirrors could have imperfections in the glass that made things look distorted or weird. It was just the way old glass was made. Nothing scary, nothing supernatural, just old glass. She told Sarah she needed to be a big kid. She couldn't deal with nightmare stuff right now. Work was stressful enough. The bills were piling up. She needed Sarah to be brave. She sent Sarah to her room for quiet time. Sarah climbed the stairs slowly, each step feeling heavier than the last. When she got to her room, she sat on her bed and stared at the closed bathroom door. Then she saw it. The door handle was turning, just slightly, like someone on the other side was testing it, but no one was in there. Sarah had just come from downstairs. Tyler and her mom were both in the kitchen. No one else was in the house. The handle turned a bit more, then stopped. The door didn't open. It just stayed closed, with the handle in the wrong position. Sarah grabbed her blanket and pulled it over her head. She stayed like that for over an hour, too scared to move, barely breathing. The next week, Sarah's mom went back to working night shifts, 6 in the evening until 6 in the morning. Tyler was in charge again, and he was getting annoyed with Sarah. She kept bothering him about the mirror, kept asking him to check the bathroom, kept saying she heard things. Tyler made a new rule. Unless Sarah was bleeding or the house was on fire, she wasn't allowed to bother him. After 9 at night, he said it firmly, the way their mom talked when she was serious. Sarah felt completely alone. She started avoiding her bathroom. She would go all the way downstairs to use the other bathroom instead. It was a long walk, especially at night, but it felt safer. Tyler noticed after a few days. He asked why she kept going downstairs when she had her own bathroom right in her room. Sarah mumbled something about the downstairs soap smelling better. Tyler rolled his eyes and went back to his game. But Sarah couldn't avoid her bedroom. That's where she slept. That's where all her things were. And every morning, she woke up to find the bathroom door open. Not wide open, just cracked a few inches. Like someone had opened it slowly to peek out into the room. Sarah would close it every night before bed. She would check the latch. She would even push a chair against it sometimes. But every morning the door was open again. She told Tyler the door didn't close properly. Tyler came up and checked it himself. He opened and closed it several times. The latch worked fine. The door stayed shut when he closed it. He told her she must be opening it in her sleep. Sarah knew she wasn't. She barely slept anymore. The reflection was getting worse too. When Sarah had to use the bathroom mirror to get ready for school, she noticed the timing was off. Her reflection's movements would lag behind hers by a full second sometimes. She would raise her hand, and a full second later, the reflection would raise its hand. She would turn her head, and the reflection would turn its head after a noticeable delay. It was like watching a video with the sound not matching the lips. One morning, Sarah woke up with terrible bedhead. Her hair was sticking up in every direction, tangled and messy. She looked in the mirror while reaching for her brush. Her reflection's hair looked combed, neat, smooth. Sarah blinked hard and looked again. Now the reflection matched her. Messy hair, tangles, everything the same. But Sarah knew what she had seen. It was starting to feel like the reflection was studying her, learning her, trying to copy her perfectly but not quite getting it right yet. Like it was practicing. On Tuesday evening, Sarah was doing homework at her desk. The desk faced away from the bathroom, toward the wall where she had taped up her drawings. She was working on a math worksheet, trying to focus on the numbers. Then she heard a sound behind her. Soft tapping, like fingernails on glass, slow and rhythmic. Tap, tap, tap. Pause. Tap, tap, tap. It was coming from the bathroom. Sarah didn't turn around. She kept her eyes on her homework, her pencil frozen in her hand. The tapping continued. Tap, tap, tap. Pause. Tap, tap, tap. It went on for 3 full minutes. Sarah counted each second in her head, too scared to move. Then it stopped. Complete silence. Sarah grabbed her homework and ran downstairs to Tyler. She begged him to come look in the bathroom. She said something was in there. Please, just come look. Please. Tyler was frustrated. He put down his controller and looked at her with tired eyes. He said he wasn't playing this game anymore. There was nothing in her bathroom, nothing in her room, nothing in the mirror. Sarah was making herself scared over nothing. Sarah started crying. She said she wasn't making it up. She promised she wasn't lying. Tyler asked if she wanted him to take the mirror down. Would that make her stop with all this? Sarah actually thought about it. Maybe if the mirror was gone, everything would stop. But then another thought came. What if removing the mirror made whatever was in there angry? What if taking it down made things worse? Sarah said never mind and went back upstairs alone. She did her homework in her room but kept her back to the bathroom the whole time. She had her eyes closed the entire time. She didn't want to look at the mirror. She brushed in circles, counting to 100 like the dentist said. When she finished, she rinsed her mouth, still with her eyes closed. She knew she had to open them eventually to find the door and leave. She took a deep breath and opened her eyes. Her reflection was smiling at her, a wide smile. Too many teeth showing. But Sarah wasn't smiling. Her mouth was closed. Sarah lifted her hand to her own mouth, touching it to make sure her lips were pressed together. Not smiling. But in the mirror, the reflection was smiling. Wide. The smile got even wider as Sarah watched. More teeth. Too many teeth. More than a normal mouth should have. Sarah stumbled backward. Her foot caught on the bath mat, and she fell. She hit the floor hard, her elbow banging against the tile. From down on the floor, she could still see the mirror. The reflection was looking down at her now, still smiling that horrible wide smile. Sarah crawled out of the bathroom on her hands and knees. She kicked the door shut behind her. That night, she slept with every light in her room turned on. Friday was supposed to be a good day. Sarah's mom had the day off, which was rare. She was in a good mood, smiling and humming while making breakfast. She told Sarah she wanted to take a cute photo to send to Grandma. She told Sarah to go put on something nice and brush her hair. Sarah's heart sank. That meant using the bathroom mirror. She went upstairs slowly. In the bathroom, she kept her eyes on the floor while she brushed her hair. She counted the brush strokes. 1, 2, 3, all the way to 50. She never looked up once. Back downstairs, her mom posed her in the living room by the window where the light was good. She told Sarah to smile. Sarah smiled. The phone camera clicked. Her mom looked at the photo and smiled. She said Sarah looked adorable. She showed Sarah the photo on her phone screen. Sarah looked normal in the picture. She was smiling, standing by the window, wearing her favorite blue shirt. But in the background of the photo, barely visible through the doorway, you could see the stairs. And at the top of the stairs, there was someone standing there. A small figure, child-sized, wearing the same blue shirt Sarah had on. But the face was blurred, like the person had moved right when the photo was taken. Motion blur. That's what photographers called it. Sarah's stomach turned. She stared at the blurred figure. She had been standing in the living room when the photo was taken. She hadn't gone upstairs. She hadn't been anywhere near the stairs. Her mom noticed Sarah staring at the phone. She looked at the photo again and laughed. She said it was just Sarah walking away, caught in the frame. Motion blur from movement. But Sarah had been standing completely still. She had been posing for the camera. Sarah zoomed in on the photo with her fingers. The blurred figure seemed to be looking directly at the camera, looking right at them. Sarah asked her mom to delete the photo. Her mom asked why. Sarah looked adorable in it. Grandma would love it. She refused to delete it. Sarah went back to her room and closed the door. Saturday night at 2:30 in the morning, Sarah woke up suddenly. She wasn't sure what woke her. No noise, no bad dream. She was just suddenly awake and alert. Her room was dark except for the glow stars on the ceiling. They cast a faint greenish light across everything. Sarah looked around her room. Everything seemed normal. Then, she saw it. The bathroom door was wide open. Sarah never opened it. She always kept it closed now. Always. From her bed, she couldn't see the mirror. The angle was wrong. But she could see the bathroom doorway. And there was something moving in the darkness inside. A shape. The shape of a person. Small. Child-sized. The figure stepped into the doorway where Sarah could see it better. It stood there, completely still. Sarah couldn't move. She couldn't scream. She couldn't even breathe properly. The figure took one step into her bedroom. The glow from the stars touched it slightly, and Sarah could see more details now. It looked exactly like her. Same height, same build, same pajamas. The same purple pajamas with stars on them that Sarah was wearing right now. Same messy sleep hair. But the face was wrong. The eyes were too wide, open too far. The mouth was slightly open, and then it tilted its head to the side. The movement was jerky, unnatural, like a bird studying something on the ground. Then it smiled. That same too wide smile Sarah had seen in the mirror. The figure reached one hand toward Sarah's bed. Its arm extended slowly. Fingers spread. Getting closer. Sarah finally found her voice. She screamed. She screamed as loud as she could. Within seconds, Tyler burst through her door. He slapped the light switch. The room flooded with bright yellow light. Sarah was sitting up in bed, pointing at the bathroom. Tyler looked. Nothing was there. The bathroom was empty. He walked over and checked inside, turning on the bathroom light too. He looked in the shower, behind the door, everywhere. Nothing. He came back to Sarah's bed and asked what the hell happened. Sarah was sobbing too hard to answer. She couldn't explain. She couldn't find the words. Tyler looked scared too. Not of the room, but of how upset Sarah was. He had never seen her like this. He told her she could sleep in his room that night. Sarah nodded, unable to speak. As she got out of bed, she looked back at her room one more time. The bathroom door was closed again. Sarah knew she hadn't closed it. Tyler hadn't closed it either. She had watched him the whole time. He never touched the door, but somehow it was closed, shut tight, like nothing had ever happened. Sunday morning, Sarah's mom sat her down at the kitchen table. Tyler had told her about the screaming in the middle of the night. Her mom looked concerned but also exhausted. She said she thought Sarah was having nightmares about the mirror. Bad dreams, because of all the stress from moving to a new house. It was normal for kids to have nightmares during big changes. She suggested keeping the bathroom door closed with a towel stuffed under the crack so Sarah couldn't see inside. Maybe getting a nightlight too. Something bright to chase away the scary thoughts. Sarah tried to explain it wasn't nightmares. She was awake. She saw it. It was real. Her mom put her hands on Sarah's shoulders and looked her in the eyes. She spoke gently, but firmly. Mirrors couldn't hurt people. They were just glass and reflection. Nothing more, nothing less. But she agreed to let Sarah keep the door wedged shut, if it would help her feel better. Tyler helped Sarah set up a door wedge that afternoon, the rubber kind that fit under the door and kept it from opening. Tyler pushed it in tight with his foot. The door absolutely could not open now without someone forcing it hard. Sarah felt a tiny bit of relief for the first time in weeks. Maybe this would work. Maybe if the door couldn't open, whatever was in there would stay in there. That night, Sarah slept better than she had in weeks. No incidents, no sounds, no open doors. The next 2 nights were the same. Peaceful, quiet, normal. Sarah started to think maybe her mom was right. Maybe it had all been nightmares and stress and her imagination running wild. Maybe the mirror really was just a mirror. On Thursday afternoon, Sarah got home from school and went to her room to change out of her school uniform. She pushed open her bedroom door and stopped. There was a piece of paper on her bed, a drawing. Sarah walked over slowly and picked it up. It was done in crayon, her crayons, the one she kept in the cup on her desk. The drawing showed 2 stick figures holding hands. Both had big circle heads and wide smiles. One stick figure was labeled M.E. in shaky letters. The other stick figure was also labeled M.E. Sarah stared at the drawing. She didn't draw this. She knew she didn't. The handwriting looked similar to hers, but shakier, less controlled, like someone was copying her handwriting but couldn't quite get it right. Sarah took the drawing downstairs and showed Tyler. He glanced at it while eating cereal. He asked if she drew it and forgot. Sarah said no, absolutely not. Tyler shrugged and said maybe their mom drew it as a cute thing. But their mom wasn't home. She didn't get home until later. And why would she draw something like this anyway? It didn't make sense. Friday after school, there was another drawing on Sarah's bed. 2 stick figures again. This time, both were labeled ME in that same shaky handwriting. But the stick figures were on opposite sides of a rectangle. The rectangle looked like a mirror. There was an arrow drawn from one stick figure pointing to the other. Sarah felt sick looking at it. She showed it to Tyler again. He was less dismissive this time. He looked at the drawing for a longer moment. He asked if anyone from school knew where they lived. Maybe someone was sneaking in as a prank. But how would they get in? All the doors were locked when Sarah got home. All the windows were locked. And how would they know to draw in Sarah's handwriting? Saturday. There was a note instead of a drawing. Actual words in messy child handwriting. I want to come out. Let me out. Sunday. Another note. We can switch. Just open the door. Sarah gathered all the notes and drawings and brought them to her mom. She spread them out on the kitchen table. Her mom's face went pale as she looked at them. She asked Sarah if she was sure she didn't make these. Sarah started crying. Why would she make them? Why would she scare herself like this? Her mom believed her. Sarah could see it in her eyes. Her mom was finally taking this seriously. She asked if any kids from school knew their address. Could someone be breaking in? Tyler suggested checking if the bathroom window was locked. Maybe someone was climbing up from outside and getting in through there. The 3 of them went upstairs together. Tyler checked the bathroom window. It was locked. Not just locked, but painted shut. The paint was old and cracked. The window hadn't been opened in years, maybe decades. There was no way someone came through that window. Sarah's mom made a decision. She went to her room and came back with her old laptop. She set it up in Sarah's room on the dresser. She angled the webcam so it pointed at both the bed and the bathroom door. She said if someone was coming into the room, they would catch them on camera. She would check the footage every morning. This actually made Sarah feel better. Finally, proof. Finally, someone would see what was happening. That night, Sarah went to bed with the laptop recording. The little green light on the webcam glowed softly in the dark. Sarah stared at it until her eyes got heavy. She fell asleep feeling safer than she had in weeks. Monday morning, Sarah's mom came into her room early. She was holding the laptop with a strange expression on her face. She told Sarah and Tyler to come look at something. The 3 of them crowded around the laptop screen. Sarah's mom had already fast-forwarded through most of the night. The timestamp showed 8:47 p.m. Sarah getting into bed. 9:02 p.m. Sarah falling asleep. Nothing happened for hours. The video played at high speed. Then the timestamp hit 2:17 a.m. Sarah's mom slowed it to normal speed. On the screen, they watched as the bathroom door wedge suddenly flew across the room. It shot out from under the door like someone had kicked it. It hit the opposite wall and fell to the floor. The door stayed closed for 30 seconds. Then, it started to open. Slowly, deliberately, the door swung open, wider and wider, until the bathroom was completely exposed. 2:18 am on the timestamp. A figure emerged from the bathroom doorway. Small, child-sized. It walked toward the bed with slow, measured steps. The camera angle couldn't capture Sarah's sleeping face. She was facing away, but the figure walked right up to the bed and stood there. It stood completely still for 4 full minutes. At 2:22 a.m., the figure reached down. Its hand moved toward Sarah's shoulder. It touched her. Sarah didn't wake up, didn't move, didn't react at all. The figure stood there for another minute, hand on Sarah's shoulder. Then it walked back to the bathroom. The door closed behind it. The wedge stayed on the floor where it had landed. Nothing else happened until 7 a.m. when Sarah's alarm went off. The 3 of them sat in complete silence after the video ended. Sarah's mom's hands were shaking. Tyler's face was white. He whispered, "What the fuck?" Sarah's mom told him to watch his language, but her voice was shaking too. Sarah stared at the paused video frame. The figure in the doorway. It was the same size as her, wearing the same pajamas. But whenever the figure's face should have been visible, it was blurred. Every single frame where the face should have shown up clearly, it was a blurred mess. Like the figure moved at the exact wrong moment, every single time. But the rest of the body was clear. Only the face was blurred. Sarah whispered that it looked like her. It did. Same height, same build, same clothes. Sarah's mom closed the laptop. She said they were covering the mirror. Right now. They were going to Home Depot immediately to get supplies. This ended today. They bought a heavy blackout curtain and a tension rod that would fit across the bathroom mirror. Back home, Tyler helped Sarah's mom install it. They hung the curtain so it completely covered the mirror. You couldn't see any reflection at all anymore. The bathroom was darker now since the curtain blocked some of the light, but Sarah didn't care. She couldn't see the mirror. That's all that mattered. Using the bathroom was inconvenient. She had to keep her eyes closed or use it in the dark. But it felt safer. The mirror was hidden. Whatever was in there couldn't watch her anymore. That night, everyone was on edge. Sarah's mom didn't go to work. She called in sick. She set up an air mattress in Sarah's room and slept there. Tyler checked on them twice before midnight. At 3:14 a.m., Sarah woke up to a loud crash. She sat up in bed, her heart racing. The curtain rod had fallen. It was on the bathroom floor. The curtain crumpled beneath it. The mirror was fully visible again, completely exposed. Sarah's mom woke up and saw it too. They both stared at the mirror. In the reflection, they could see themselves, Sarah and her mom, in bed. But something was wrong. In the mirror, Sarah's mom was looking directly at them, at the real them. But the real mom was looking at the mirror, and in the mirror, reflection Sarah was smiling. That wide, terrible smile. But real Sarah wasn't smiling. She was terrified. Real Sarah's hand wasn't moving, but reflection Sarah waved. A slow wave, like saying hello or goodbye. Sarah's mom grabbed Sarah's arm. She said they were leaving. Right now, they weren't even packing bags. They were getting out. They stumbled down the stairs. Tyler came out of his room asking what was happening. Sarah's mom told him to get blankets. They were sleeping in the car. Tyler started to argue, but saw their faces and stopped. He grabbed blankets from the linen closet. The three of them sat in the car in the driveway until the sun came up. Sarah's mom kept the doors locked and the windows up. None of them slept. They just sat there, staring at the house. When the sun finally rose and the street started to get light, they went back inside. Sarah's mom said they needed to pack. They were staying at Grandma's house until this was dealt with. Sarah refused to go back upstairs to her room. Tyler went up and gathered her clothes and stuffed animals for her. He shoved everything into trash bags. Before they left, Sarah looked up at her bedroom window from the front yard. There was someone standing there, looking down at them. It looked exactly like Sarah. Same face, same hair, same everything. But Sarah was standing in the front yard. She looked down at herself to make sure. She was definitely standing outside. She looked back up at the window. The figure waved. Then it stepped back and disappeared into the darkness of the room. Sarah got in the car and didn't look back again. Monday, Sarah's mom called out of work. She made an appointment with a priest from the church 3 blocks away. She also called a child psychologist. She was covering all her bases. They stayed at Grandma's house. Grandma had a small apartment that smelled like lavender and old books. Sarah slept on the couch. There were no mirrors in the living room. No incidents happened. No sounds, no figures, no open doors. For the first time in weeks, Sarah felt safe. On Tuesday, Father Matthews came to their house. He was younger than Sarah expected. He wore regular clothes, not the priest robes she had seen in movies. He seemed nice, but skeptical when Sarah's mom explained what was happening. Then, Sarah's mom showed him the video on her laptop. Father Matthews watched it twice. The second time, he went completely silent. His face got pale. When it finished, he asked to see the mirror. Sarah's mom told him it was upstairs. He went up, alone. He was gone for 20 minutes. When he came back down, he looked shaken. He pulled Sarah's mom aside. Sarah was in the kitchen, but she could hear parts of the conversation. Not my area of expertise. Might need someone who specializes. I blessed the room, but he left quickly after that. He wouldn't look at Sarah on his way out. On Wednesday, Sarah's mom took her to see Dr. Chen. The office was nice, with toys and comfortable chairs. Dr. Chen was a kind woman, with glasses and a gentle voice. She asked Sarah about nightmares and stress, and how she felt about her dad leaving. Sarah tried to explain it wasn't nightmares. She showed Dr. Chen the drawings they had brought. Dr. Chen looked at them carefully. She seemed concerned, but not about the mirror. She talked to Sarah's mom privately after the session. Sarah sat in the waiting room, swinging her legs and staring at the fish tank. When her mom came out, she looked upset. In the car on the way back to Grandma's, her mom explained. Dr. Chen thought Sarah was processing trauma through the mirror fixation. It was common for kids after big changes like divorce and moving. The mind created stories to explain the fear and stress. Sarah said, but the video. Her mom's hands tightened on the steering wheel. She said she knew. She saw it too. But Dr. Chen said maybe they were all so stressed that they were seeing things that weren't really there. Mass hysteria, she called it. Her mom didn't sound like she believed it though. Her voice was hollow. They stayed at Grandma's for a full week, Thursday through the next Wednesday. No incidents. No strange occurrences. Sarah started to feel normal again. She played board games with Grandma. She did her homework at the kitchen table. She slept through the night without fear. On Friday, Sarah's mom met with someone Father Matthews had recommended, a woman named Christine, who investigated paranormal activity. Sarah's mom didn't tell Sarah about this meeting until after it happened. The following Monday, Sarah's mom sat Sarah down at Grandma's kitchen table. She explained that Christine had gone to their house. She spent 3 hours there with equipment and tools. Christine's findings were not comforting. She said there was a strong presence in Sarah's bathroom. The entity showed mimicry behavior consistent with something called doppelganger phenomenon. Christine said the entity appeared to be attached to the mirror or the space around it. She recommended 3 options. They could break the mirror, they could move out, or they could try to contain it. The landlord refused to let them break the mirror. It was a historical feature of the house. Breaking it would violate the lease. Sarah's mom couldn't afford to move again so soon. They had just moved. They had just paid all the deposits and fees. So Christine was coming back on Friday to try containment. Friday arrived. Christine came to the house with bags of supplies. Salt, sage, candles, and papers. With words in Latin. Sarah, Tyler, and their mom had to stay downstairs while Christine worked. They sat in the living room in silence. They could hear Christine upstairs, chanting. The smell of burning sage filled the house. At one point, they heard something shatter, glass breaking. Sarah's mom stood up, but Christine called down that everything was fine. Christine was upstairs for 2 hours. When she finally came down, she was sweating. Her hair was messy. She looked exhausted. She told them the mirror was sealed now. She gave strict instructions. Don't remove the salt lines. Don't open the bathroom window. Don't disturb anything she placed in there. She explained that the bathroom was now covered in symbols drawn with chalk. There was a salt line across the doorway. The mirror had sigils painted on it in red paint. Herbs were hanging from the shower rod. Christine looked directly at Sarah. She said the entity couldn't come through now. The seal would hold. But she paused for a long time. Sarah asked, "But what?" Christine said, "Don't look at the mirror. Even with the seal, don't look." It could still see Sarah. It just couldn't reach her anymore. As long as Sarah didn't look, everything would be okay. Saturday, the family moved back home. Sarah's room felt different. It smelled like sage and something else. Something old and earthy and wrong. The bathroom looked like a crime scene. Symbols covered every surface. The mirror was barely visible under all the red painted sigils. The salt line across the doorway was thick and white. Sarah's mom set up the air mattress in Sarah's room again. She said it was just temporary. Just until Sarah felt comfortable sleeping alone again. Tyler checked on them every hour until midnight. Then he went to his own room to sleep. Saturday night at 10:47, Sarah was lying in bed, trying to fall asleep. Her mom was on the air mattress, already snoring softly. Then, Sarah heard it. Tapping. Soft tapping. From the bathroom. Fingernails on glass. Then a voice, muffled through the door but clear enough to understand. It sounded exactly like Sarah's voice. "I'm lonely. Please open the door. I just want to play." Sarah pulled her blanket over her head. The voice continued. "Mom won't let me out. She trapped me. Please, please, please." The voice turned desperate. Started crying. "It hurts in here. The cymbals hurt. I'm scared. Please help me." Sarah started crying too. Real tears running down her face. Her mom woke up to Sarah's muffled sobs. She asked what was wrong. Sarah asked if she heard the voice. Her mom listened carefully. She said she didn't hear anything. What voice? But the voice had stopped the exact second Sarah's mom woke up. Like it knew. Like it was listening. The voice came every night after that. Always, when Sarah's mom was asleep. Sometimes it begged. Sometimes it cried. Sometimes it got angry. "You trapped me and took my room. This was my house first. I was here before you." Sarah stopped sleeping. She would stay awake until dawn, exhausted and terrified. Then she would sleep during the day, when the house was full of light and people. Her mom noticed. More doctor appointments. They prescribed sleep medication for children. It didn't help. Sarah wasn't unable to sleep. She was too scared to sleep. 2 weeks after Christine's visit, on a Tuesday at 2:33 in the morning, Sarah woke up needing to pee desperately. She had been holding it for hours, not wanting to leave her bed. But she couldn't hold it anymore. She couldn't use her bathroom. It was sealed. Forbidden. The downstairs bathroom was her only option. That meant leaving the room. Sarah's mom was asleep on the air mattress. Sarah got out of bed as quietly as possible. She tiptoed to her bedroom door. She looked back down the hallway before leaving. Her bedroom door was open. She had closed it. She always closed it. And the bathroom door was open too. Wide open. That was impossible. The wedge was back in place. The salt line should have stopped it. There was a figure standing in the bathroom doorway, backlit by the window inside. The same small figure, the same child-sized shape. It was wearing Sarah's clothes. It took one step into the hallway. Sarah didn't wait to see more. She ran. She flew down the stairs, not caring how much noise she made. She ran to the downstairs bathroom and slammed the door behind her. After using the bathroom, she ran to Tyler's room. She pounded on his door. Tyler opened it, groggy and confused. Sarah was sobbing, unable to form words. Tyler told her to calm down and breathe. When she could finally speak, she told him what she saw. Tyler went upstairs to check. Sarah waited in his doorway, her whole body shaking. When Tyler came back down, he said all the doors were closed. The salt line was perfect, undisturbed. Nothing was there. Sarah knew what she saw. Tyler let her sit in his room. He finally admitted something. He said he had been hearing things too. For weeks now. He didn't want to scare Sarah, so he didn't say anything. But he heard it. The voice. The tapping. He heard it too. Wednesday morning, Sarah woke up confused. She was in her own bed. She didn't remember coming back upstairs. She looked around. She had slept in. It was 10:34 in the morning according to her alarm clock. Why didn't her mom wake her for school? She got out of bed slowly. Her mom's air mattress was empty and already deflated. Sarah went downstairs. Her mom was in the kitchen, making pancakes. She smiled and said, "Good morning, sleepyhead. Feeling better?" Sarah asked why she didn't wake her for school. Her mom laughed. It was Saturday. No school. Sarah insisted it was Wednesday. Her mom showed her the calendar on the fridge. Saturday. But Sarah remembered Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. She remembered all 3 days clearly. Tyler came downstairs and asked what all the commotion was about. He said Sarah had been sleeping forever, like 14 hours. Sarah felt disoriented. Wrong. Something was very wrong, but she couldn't explain what. She went to the downstairs bathroom to splash water on her face. She looked in the mirror above the sink. She stopped. Something felt wrong about her reflection. It looked right. It moved when she moved, but it felt wrong, like watching a recording of herself instead of a real reflection. Sarah reached up and touched her face. Her reflection touched its face too, but there was a delay. So small most people wouldn't notice. Maybe half a second. But it was there. Sarah backed away from the mirror slowly. Her reflection backed away too, always half a second behind. She went back to the kitchen. Her mom and Tyler were talking and laughing about something. Normal conversation. Normal Saturday morning. Sarah looked down at her own hands. They looked like her hands. 10 fingers, normal size, normal skin. But they felt different. Like she was wearing gloves made of her own skin. Like being inside something that fit perfectly but wasn't quite right. The next few days were a blur. Sarah went through the motions. She went to school. She did homework. She ate dinner. She went to bed. But nothing felt real anymore. Everything felt like she was watching it happen to someone else. She kept catching her reflection in windows, in phone screens, in any shiny surface. There was always that tiny delay. Always that half-second lag between her movement and the reflection's movement. One day after school, Sarah went upstairs. She stood outside her bedroom door. The door was open. She walked to the doorway and looked inside. The bathroom door was open too. The salt line was gone. The symbols had been painted over. The mirror was clean. Just a regular mirror. Shiny and clear and normal. Sarah's mom came up behind her. She said, "Oh good, you're home." She explained that she cleaned up all that mess Christine left last week. The place looked normal again. "Didn't it look better?" Sarah asked when she did that. Her mom said last week, remember? Sarah helped her wash off all those symbols and scrub the chalk off the walls, but Sarah didn't remember. She didn't remember helping. She didn't remember any of it. Sarah's mom seemed confused that Sarah didn't remember. She said maybe Sarah was coming down with something. She felt Sarah's forehead. No fever. She told Sarah to rest. Sarah went into her room. She sat on the bed. Everything looked normal. Her stuffed animals, her drawings on the wall, her desk with homework scattered across it. But it felt like someone else's room. Like she was visiting a stranger's house. She looked at the closed bathroom door. Something pulled her toward it. She stood up and walked slowly across her room. Her hand reached for the doorknob. She turned it. The door opened. The bathroom was clean and bright. The mirror was right there on the wall. Sarah looked at her reflection. The reflection smiled. Sarah wasn't smiling. Sarah's mouth was closed and her face was scared. But the reflection smiled anyway. Wide and terrible and wrong. The reflection lifted its hand and waved. Sarah's hand stayed at her side. Then the reflection mouthed words. Sarah watched its lips move carefully. "Thank you." That's what it said. "Thank you." Sarah felt ice run through her entire body. She understood in one horrible moment what had happened. The switch. It already happened. She didn't know when. Maybe that night she overslept. Maybe earlier. Maybe days ago. Maybe she had been inside this wrong body for days and didn't realize until now. The room felt different because it wasn't her room anymore. Her body felt different because it wasn't her body. She was inside something else now. Eating dinner with Mom, playing games with Tyler, being Sarah better than Sarah ever was. Sarah tried to tell her mom. She said, "I'm not me. Something switched us. I'm not Sarah anymore." Her mom looked worried, but not about the mirror. She asked if Sarah was having those nightmares again. Did she need to see Dr. Chen? Sarah tried to tell Tyler. She said the mirror thing wasn't over. Christine didn't fix it. Something happened. Tyler looked tired. He said the mirror thing was done. Christine sealed it. Sarah needed to move on. Stop obsessing over it. No one believed her. Because she looked exactly like Sarah. She sounded exactly like Sarah. She had all of Sarah's memories. But she knew. Deep down, she knew. She was inside something that wasn't her, looking out through eyes that didn't belong to her. Every mirror showed that tiny delay, that proof that something was wrong. But only she could see it. Only she knew. It had been 4 months now. Sarah stopped trying to convince anyone. Her mom said she was doing so much better. The nightmares were gone. But they weren't gone. Sarah lived the nightmare every single day. She woke up every morning and had to see that mirror. And every morning, something looked back at her from the glass. It looked like her. It moved like her. To everyone else, it was her. But Sarah knew the truth. She was the one trapped now. The one in the glass. The one behind the reflection. And the thing that looked like Sarah, that wore Sarah's face and lived Sarah's life, it was out there in the real world. It had won. Last week, Sarah caught it looking at Tyler, staring at him when it thought no one was watching, studying him, the same way it studied Sarah before the switch, the way it learned her movements and her voice and her handwriting. Tyler mentioned yesterday that his bathroom mirror was old and beautiful, just like Sarah's used to be. Sarah tried to warn him. She told him to be careful around mirrors, to keep his bathroom door closed. But she wasn't Sarah anymore. Not really. So why would he listen? Why would anyone listen to someone who wasn't really there? If this story sent chills down your spine, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Tomorrow, we're covering something even more terrifying. The reason why your childhood photos show things in the background that you never noticed before. You won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching. And maybe tonight, cover all your mirrors before you go to sleep. You never know what might be looking back.